welcome back to the whole topic. This week's episode is on the power of a picnic and simple meals. This episode I think is coming back out in midsummer. So meal planning sometimes is a mom's hardest task. Like if you don't have dinner planned, or it just can make the whole day overwhelming.
Yeah.
So the power of a picnic is a topic I want to share because in my mothering, I have learned that when you make a sandwich for a picnic, it's as if you made them a 5-star meal.
It doesn't taste like the same sandwich at the kitchen table as it does on a picnic blanket. I'm just saying.
Exactly. So sometimes we overwhelm ourselves so much and we think we have to have dinner just a certain way at a certain time. And if I'm completely honest, I do more often than not make sure all of our meals are at the dinner table.
Yeah.
However, there is something to simply making a sandwich, throwing some veggies in, throwing an apple in, and going out and sitting outside with it.
Yep.
It creates memories. I mean, it's easy, super easy. Your kids can enjoy it. Like there's so many things.
Good feeling things about it.
It's just perfect.
Something ordinary, I wrote this down, something ordinary becomes extraordinary in a little child's mind when, like she said, it's just a sandwich.
Yep.
But the sandwich tastes so much better when it's outside in nature than when it's sat at your kitchen table for whatever reason. And even as moms too, I feel like the meals taste better when we're just outside together.
You don't have to clean your kitchen.
Yeah.
You don't have to, it's the whole mess is outside. So there's you didn't have to pull out all the pots and pans to make a meal. And sometimes we overwhelm ourselves to a point where we think we have to do things a certain way when in reality you don't. The point of having a meal together for me is to have a healthy meal, which sandwiches could be healthy, and making sure I'm spending time with my family.
Yeah.
And just simply putting that in perspective, it could just make life so much easier for you.
I feel like for me anyways, and I don't know if you feel the same way, I'm really good about sitting down at breakfast and I'm really good about sitting down at dinner with the family, but lunch always seems to get missed. I'm usually doing a million other things. It's right in the middle of the day. And so it's like I'm whipping it up real quick and the kids get theirs. And sometimes I eat mine standing up, finishing whatever I'm doing. And by doing a picnic, it almost forces me to sit down and have a peaceful lunch with my kids when I ordinarily wouldn't do that. Sometimes I do, but most of the time, because of where lunch falls in the day, I don't. I'm right in the middle of everything. And so I'm usually more concerned about getting my kids fed than really myself and stopping what I'm doing. And so this really, by having a picnic, by moving it outside, it kind of gives me that peaceful restart in the middle of my day and forces me to sit down with them and eat with them, which is so valuable on so many levels. I know there's been studies out that talk about dinner, when families that have dinner time scheduled every single night and that they sit, even if it's sandwiches at dinner, I mean, no matter what it is, when you sit and eat as a family, the relationships between your family grow so much, and just the relationship with everyone grows so much by doing that. And I think that's very important. And if you aren't sitting down and eating meals together at all, start with dinner. I mean, do that.
Yes.
But I do feel like lunch can bring just as much benefits. And a lot of times that's the meal that everybody does on the go quickly and hurried.
Yes.
Probably because of where it's at in the day.
Yes. And on that note, even for us, I often like doing picnics at the end of the week. Like when, Sunday is our busiest day. Like we're usually doing work around the house. We're usually getting a bunch of stuff done. And I don't normally feel like cooking at the end of the day. So we'll pack a picnic and we'll head up to our creek or up to our pond, and the kids will all be involved in it. Another thing I want to say is it doesn't just have to be sandwiches. We do things like Asian chicken salad. You can do biscuits. You can make chicken at home and put it in its thing. You can do an old-fashioned picnic. The kids love doing those things and they'll even help a lot of times because they love the old-fashioned kind of picnics where they would bake a pie and put biscuits and fried chicken and jam with their biscuits. So just putting effort that way instead of killing yourself and trying to make sure you have the perfect meal on the table. I also want to hit on what you said about people sitting around the dinner table. I remember reading an article on what dinner looks like for most Americans, and I would have to dig it up. But when I read it at that point, which I think was like 3 or 4 years ago, it was staggering how many families do not eat at the dinner table. How many dining rooms just collect stuff, and everyone is scattered at every meal. Like, where's the connecting point for the family if you don't have, like, do you have a connecting point for your family? Do your kids can they depend on seeing mom and dad at dinner if dad's not working or you guys are available? These are vital years in their life, and it's really important to make sure that as the head of that household that you are making it a priority to have, I personally believe, at least once a day where you're around that table and you're connecting. Picnics or no picnics, I do want to say something that we do at our meals, usually dinner time, but you can do it for picnics too, is when our kids sit down, I will always ask, every single person has to answer 3 questions. The first question is, what was your high today? Which, what was your best part of your day? That's what that question means. Then what was your low? And no one, when I ask what was your low, they can share something they feel comfortable sharing, that frustrated them or just wasn't a very happy part of their day. And no one is allowed to say anything or correct them for that. If they had a low, that's a low. Congratulations, you had a low. and they just, it's not a correcting time. This is just for them to just share something. And then the last thing is they get to share something they're thankful for. So if you haven't started sitting around the table, or even if you do and you just have a hard time like knowing where to guide conversations and stuff, that's a great conversation starter. There are many times where we end up laughing so hard, like to the point that I had to be like, all right, I'm not, like, you can't laugh anymore because it's so out of control. It's a good talking point. It's a good place to start with your kids if people have a hard time talking. We don't really have a hard time talking.
Nobody in your family has a hard time talking.
No, we don't. However, it's good. It's just good for it's like sometimes I'm working at the coffee shop, or sometimes, I got really busy during my day, or my husband has it. We just want to just reconnect with our kids. So whether you do it as a picnic or just around the dinner table, that's a very simple way to just connect with what maybe, because they're automatically going to think, okay, the best part of my day was this, or what, I really did not like this part of the day, and maybe I didn't know that, but now I know, and maybe later, if it's something that's really important, I can elaborate on it privately with them. But just choosing to implement small things like this, simple things like this in your life will make parenting so much easier. So I'm going to ask Stephanie, what are some of your favorite simple meals that you could recommend tossing in a basket and just
going
heading for the hills?
So I think one of our favorite, and I do this whether we do a picnic or even for lunch at home, our absolute favorite thing is, we call it a snack board. And it's basically just a smorgasbord of lunch meat, cheese, crackers, veggies, fruits, nuts, if you have any. And we just put it all out. I usually take a cutting board. If we're doing it on a picnic, I'll put them in Tupperwares so that they stay nice. And we just lay it all out, kind of like a charcuterie board. We just call them snack boards, and put them out. And that's almost everybody's favorite picnic or lunch style, because you get they almost feel like they're eating snacks for a meal. I mean, how many moms out there here, can I have a snack a million times a day? Well, they're getting snack as a meal, and I feel good about it because they're getting their protein, they're getting their veggies, they're getting their fruits. You can feed them veggies all day long, but you put it with a little ranch dip on a snack board and call it a snack, and now it's a meal and they are happy to eat it. So that is probably one of our favorite ways for a lunch. Another easy one is just any kind of salad, any kind of fresh salad in any way. My kids all like salad, and I love salad. You can throw meat in there. We do taco salad. The easiest taco salad dressing that I love is any kind of ranch. You can either buy it or make it yourself. I always make it. And so a half a jar, equal parts ranch, equal parts salsa, mix it together. It makes the best taco salad dressing. And that's how we do it. And we put ground beef and cheese and crunched up tortilla chips and beans and corn, and you throw it all together in a salad. And that is a really good, easy lunch. Any kind of pasta salads we do, which are really nice. And then if you are gluten-free, one of our staple lunch ideas that I used to do a lot, and I haven't recently, the kids kind of got burnt out with it. I bet if I brought it back now, they would be really excited. But I think it's Lundberg is how you say their brand. I get on Azure Standard. They have what's called rice thins, I believe. I think they're called rice thins, but they're basically a rice cake, but they're really thin little squares that are stackable. And we take that with a piece of lunch meat, like turkey, and a piece of cheese, and it's almost like a sandwich, but it's on a rice cake, and it's very, very good. And my kids used to eat those all the time, and it's so simple as a lunch. So that is something that we do. We used to do a lot. They kind of got burnt out because lunch is not my favorite meal of the day. I don't spend all of my time cooking a lunch typically. I'm trying to do better because it is an important part of your it is an important meal in your day because it is fueling you for the second half of your day. So I know there's value to it. So I'm trying to do better, but it's usually like 12 o'clock and I'm just scrounging something together. So we did rice cakes, meat and cheese a lot, and they were over it. So I haven't bought them in a while, but I probably could bring them back now. It's been like a year.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking they'll be okay.
They won't care.
Yeah.
So if we can like leave you with something today that would encourage you, all of us want to be super mom. Like we all want to be able to fill everything that our kids need.
Yep.
But just in reality,
it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work. So finding ways to simplify things on your busy days, because there are some days where I do feel like super mom. Like I have cooked
I've done everything.
I have finished everything.
My house is clean.
Yes. Like,
everybody's happy. I didn't have to break up one fight today.
Exactly. But then there are those days that it's just like, I feel like I have literally failed life.
Right.
And it's just one of those days. So those are the days where I even need a picnic.
Yes.
So
yes,
I just want to say, like, memories to me, like creating those special memories with my kids. Because if I'm stressed out and I get in nature, it makes a huge difference. Sunshine and nature. So my kids are going to have memories of creekside picnics, pondside picnics, lakeside picnics, park. Like they're going to have memories of all these places. And to me, that means so much to me because like what could have ended up in a very stressful meal at the end of the day, and you only have a few weeks, for us, we can do it kind of mid to end of spring.
Yeah.
Into maybe early fall.
Yeah.
Like that's when our season for us that we can do picnics. And so we can do a few more than some people, but it just creates beautiful memories that I know that my kids will cherish. And I know I cherish them. And I'll be sad when I don't get to do that with my kids anymore.
Yeah.
But just realizing that sometimes simple is better.
Yeah.
Sometimes the simple sandwich or cold cereal or whatever it is, your cold cheese or meat, I don't care.
Right.
Whatever makes everybody happy and calm and their bellies full.
Well, and that's something to think about too, is I used to always think when I would be stressed or had a lot going on that day, and I think I don't have time to go sit down and have a picnic. I oftentimes find that I get more done when I take that half an hour or that 40 minutes and go do that with the kids. And I think it's mind over matter. I think I get reset. I reset. And so I feel like I'm ready to tackle it as opposed to feeling like I'm just floundering throughout my day and nothing really gets accomplished. So you never don't have enough time. And I think that is something that in our society, we get lost into believing that I don't have enough time. I wish I had that, but I don't have time. And in reality, some things may have to be let go to incorporate certain things in, but you do have enough time, and it just has to change what your priorities are.
And just giving yourself grace. Like if you wake up, like I highly recommend if you are having a day where you're just struggling, you have nothing for dinner, nothing. Just know that's a picnic day. Yeah. I mean, we've eaten in porch. You don't
need a creek to go have a picnic.
Nope,
you can
go
anywhere you want.
You can sit by the cow pasture, or you can sit on the pit, like sit on the sidewalk.
Just go outside.
Just go outside and sit down and just give your mom brain a break and let your children create those memories. And it just simplifies life. So honestly, this
was a quick episode, but it is something I hope that was encouraging to you guys to know that Meals don't have to be elaborate
Yes.
or fancy in order to be special,
Yes.
or good or healthy even. I mean, the simplest things can be healthy for you and make memories. And so
Those moms that you see on Instagram
the
or
Pinterest moms,
yeah, Pinterest moms. Well, even the moms just on Instagram where they like all you see is like an old-fashioned picnic sitting on the floor. They probably didn't really work hard. They just are
right.
taking cool pictures.
I know.
So just don't be jealous. Just go make yourself some sandwiches.
And you don't have to have a picnic basket.
No, you don't. You don't.
But
A
they do
laundry
make it fun.
basket- A laundry basket
It
works.
does work. It does work.
Laundry basket works. So let's just post that up here, and we're gonna actually, as we move forward with this podcast, we want to hear from you guys. We want to hear questions. We want to hear your inspiration for things that you would recommend too, because I know we're always learning from each other.
Yep.
But this is just something that has really been on our heart to share, because so many people, like I have been like messaged often, and people will say things like, wow, you do everything, you're super mom. No, I just learned how to not do things that aren't going to fit within my life, and it's going to make me less crazy in the head if I do too much.
She's teaching me how to say no.
Yes, boundaries. Say no often to people that do not fit into your family space.
Yeah.
Next time we are going to be talking about processing the garden produce. So if you have a garden or it's something you're interested or curious about learning, we are all gardeners. Ariel, Stephanie, and I are all gardeners. This year my garden is going to look a little different because I have a cow sitting in my garden right now with a calf. But the processing is not as easy or not as intimidating as you might think.
And if you're doing a big garden, you'll need to know how to put all of that fresh produce up. And so learning how to process it before you start a garden, or just knowing what you're going to do with it, is important. So
Yes.
it'll be a good topic to touch on.
Yep. So if it's something you just want to sit in on and listen to or learn, or something you need inspiration of, that one will be for you. So see you next time.
See ya.
You've been listening to the Whole Topic podcast. To hear more, to see behind the scenes, or to get a hold of us directly, visit our socials, Facebook and Instagram, The Whole Topic Podcast. If you'd like to hear more from Andrea, visit her blog at dearmark23.com, where she talks about whole foods, whole grains, and whole living. If you'd like to hear more from Stephanie, visit theranchershomestead.com, where she talks about simple living, gluten-free recipes, and farm life. If you'd like to see more from me, visit wildandforagedcare.com, where I talk about simple living, wild recipes, and natural remedies. Thank you for listening, and God bless.